Karl Marx, a 19th-century philosopher and economist, looked around at the world and saw deep inequality. He saw factory owners getting rich while the workers who made that wealth struggled to survive. This injustice fueled his ideas, which became known as Marxism. At its heart, Marxism is a dream of a fairer society. Marx believed that history was a story of class struggle. He saw a constant tension between those who had power and those who didn't. For Marx, capitalism, the dominant economic system of his time, was a system built on exploitation. The workers, he argued, were the true creators of value, yet they were denied the fruits of their labor. Marx envisioned a different future, communist society. In this ideal world, private property, the source of so much inequality according to Marx, would be abolished. Instead, resources would be shared equally among all members of society. This, he believed, would create a world free from the oppression and exploitation that he saw as inherent in capitalism. Marx's ideas were radical for his time, a sharp critique of the status quo. He dared to imagine a world where power and wealth were not concentrated in the hands of a few, but were distributed fairly among all. This vision resonated with many, particularly the working class, who saw in Marxism the promise of a better future. Central to Marx's philosophy was the idea of a classless society. He believed that the division of society into different classes, the workers, the capitalists, the landowners, was the root of social injustice. This division, he argued, created a system where one group exploited the labor of another. In a truly equal society, as envisioned by Marx, these class distinctions would disappear. There would be no more capitalists profiting off the labor of workers. Instead, everyone would contribute to society according to their abilities and receive what they needed in return. This principle, often summarized as from each according to his ability to each according to his needs, formed the bedrock of Marx's vision of a just and equitable world. To achieve this classless society, Marx argued that the means of production, the factories, the land, the tools, should be owned collectively, not privately. This collective ownership, he believed, would prevent the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few, ensuring that the benefits of production were shared equally among all. Marx's ideas about equality extended beyond economics. He also believed in the equal worth and dignity of all individuals. He opposed all forms of oppression, whether based on class, race, gender, or any other social division. His vision of a just world was one where everyone had the opportunity to reach their full potential, free from the constraints of an unjust and unequal system. Marx saw the working class, the proletariat, as the engine of history. They were the ones who toiled in the factories and fields, producing the wealth that sustained society. Yet, under capitalism, they were alienated from their labor, treated as mere cogs in a machine designed to enrich the capitalist class. Marx believed that the workers, through their collective power, had the potential to overthrow this system of exploitation. He called for a workers' revolution, a radical transformation of society that would shift power from the hands of the capitalists to the hands of the proletariat. This revolution, Marx argued, would not be a simple seizure of power, it would be a complete restructuring of society, a dismantling of the capitalist system at its core. The workers, once they had gained control, would establish a new social order based on the principles of equality, cooperation, and shared ownership. Marx's call to action resonated with many workers who faced harsh conditions and exploitation in the factories and mines of industrializing Europe. His ideas provided a language for their grievances, a framework for understanding their place in the world, and a vision for a better future. While Marx's ideas held great promise for a more just and equitable world, their translation into practice proved to be a complex and often troubled affair. The 20th century witnessed the rise and fall of numerous Marxist-inspired regimes, each grappling with the challenges of implementing these ideals in the real world. The Soviet Union, under the leadership of Vladimir Lenin and later Joseph Stalin, became the first major attempt to build a socialist state based on Marxist principles. However, the Soviet experiment, while achieving significant advances in industrialization and social welfare, deviated significantly from Marx's vision. The state, rather than withering away as Marx predicted, became increasingly powerful, suppressing dissent and individual liberties. In China, Mao Zedong led a communist revolution that resulted in the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949. Mao's interpretation of Marxism, heavily influenced by China's peasant society, emphasized the role of the peasantry in the revolutionary struggle. His policies, such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, aimed to rapidly transform China into a socialist society, but resulted in widespread famine and social upheaval. These examples highlight the complexities and contradictions inherent in the practical application of Marxist theory. The gap between the ideal of a classless, stateless society and the realities of these regimes, characterized by authoritarianism and state control, raises fundamental questions about the viability of implementing Marx's vision.